So, all the recordings are done, and you've already got the idea for the Ninja Tour. What? I'm assuming this was Trent's idea. Um, a farewell for his band. Um, let's take Jane's Addiction out with us. Is he immediately like, um, we need to work out who's gonna finish, who's gonna play last, or is he like, you guys, you need to play last immediately? Is that his?
Yeah, from the very we had dinner with Trent before any of this happened, um, and uh, at that first dinner, um, Trent said, "This is how I picture it," and he said that he wanted to open for us, and um, Stephen, Dave, and I were against the idea. Perry Perry liked the idea, but we were anticipating that a thing might happen like happened with David Bowie, where you know where Nails just sort of wiped the stage up with
Yeah,
Bowie, but there were some other circumstances, like it wasn't good Bowie. He wasn't playing like he was playing very specific stuff and stuff,
right.
Anyway, there were reasons why that didn't work so well, but anyway, Trent, um, as he does, was presented his idea in a very um, sort of wise and coherent way, um, saying that he'd been out a lot with his band, and so the idea of him just doing another leg with you know last leg it was Deer Hunter and now it's Jane's Addiction, and like that there wasn't anything special about that. And so his idea was that he wanted to do a stripped down version of his set and then open it up to us and have the set be shorter than he normally plays, and without a lot of bells and whistles, and then to hand off to us, and and in that way be sort of like him saying, this is a band that really meant a lot to me when I was young, and so there's sort of a different story to tell
Yeah.
rather than just it's Nine Inch Nails now for another leg, and it's Jane's Addiction instead of TV on the radio or whatever.
And so you spoke before about maybe intermingling some of the bands. Was that the idea from the start? You guys come play with my band. Speaking from Trent's point of view, and I'll come do some songs with you guys if you'd like. Was that
Yeah,
invitation open, or was that the idea?
that was the idea. But Perry thought that it would. I mean, which I think is fair. I mean, it's a fair thought. He thought that it would make it less special for James. Like it would be sort of too much of a blend with the rest of the evening instead of like here's the first time you've heard James in a long time
Right.
with all original members or whatever. Um, so Perry didn't want to do that. I mean, um, yeah. So I mean, it's
He shot that
I
down, right?
disagree, but at least that was one of the more rational opinions, I thought.
So he was against that from the start, and it sounded
Yeah,
reasonable.
yeah.
Um, so that was done. But yeah, you ended up playing some with Trent.
Yeah. They actually had to stop because I'm epileptic, so they had to stop the strobe lights long enough for me to be able to. I didn't even see one show of that tour
Uh,
because the strobe was so heavy all the time
yeah,
on that stage.
it was
It's
pretty
terrible.
bad.
But anyway, so for old time's sake, they had me come out and play Head Like a Hole because I used to do that in the first Lollapalooza. I would come out every day basically and play Head Like a Hole with them. And So I came out and played Head Like a Hole, and they put the strobes away for a song.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that would have been quite a special effect
Yeah.
on stage, me flopping around.
So, how were these shows? As far were these shows enjoyable? Did you get some input on the set list? Why were they playing? You guys seem to play basically the same songs um, every night, and even shorter than what Trent ended up playing. You know, y'all were playing about 12 or 13 songs, and Trent was playing about 18 or 19.
Yes. Well, I mean, you've touched on one of those things. It's just like a constant, it's like it's basically it's Steven is by himself in wanting to play a real, just the fucking, amount you're supposed to play, you
Yeah.
know. Um, yeah, well, I mean, like I was saying about the foot pedal thing, I tried to get them to play Of Course. Wait, is that the name? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and I was like, let's do like a cabaret beer hall sort of version. I'll play piano and like have it be very like dun 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 dun, and we actually tried it in rehearsal once, but because it didn't sound good, it got scrapped. And that's the sort of how things went a lot, where I was like, wait, but we only ran it once.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not really a piano player, so it's going to take me a while, like let's not abandon the idea, before it's had a chance to even be rehearsed enough to know whether or not it's a good idea. But anyway, um, but I mean, Stephen will be fighting that fight,
Yeah.
with whoever's the new bass player, uh, trying to squeeze, because what inevitably happens is they create a small set, and then during that set, Perry will call off one, like maybe because he'll have trouble with his voice or something,
Yeah.
and so then the short set becomes even shorter.
Wow.
So I mean, it's really very odd. I mean, because Jane's Addiction 1.0, one of the things that we used to do, which I still believe is the case, um, is that we wanted to play tight, short sets. But back then it was like a tight, short hour and 40 minutes or whatever. Like we were just like, we don't want to be the East Street Band and play 3 hours or whatever and leave people going, hey, wow, boy, do they play for a long time. Um, we wanted to be like, hit them hard, have full energy, focus, and then boom, and get off stage. But that, I guess, over the years has become 40 minutes or whatever. I mean, it's just like insane how
Yeah.
little
Yeah. Well,
that band plays.
yeah. To me, it's
Insane.
changed since the relapse was exciting, obviously because they were getting back together, but they had a little acoustic stage where they came out in the crowd and they played 3 songs just acoustic, and
Mm-hmm.
even the Jubilee tour that they did in like 2001, they played Kettle Whistle for the first time in a long time, and they did a big production with that. And I think they even put solo songs in that tour, so it was kind of different. And then after that, it seemed to just, like you're saying, it seemed to get shorter and shorter. And I think most people wanted, really just wanted different songs. They wanted at least one rarer song, um, Slow
We
Diver,
all did.
yeah, or Kettle
We all did.
Whistle or something like that. Um,
Yeah.
but these
We
are songs
tried.
they don't
We
get
tried.
rehearsed or
To work in other songs. We kept trying uh, to work in other songs, but people wouldn't
no.
were resistant. And then what then wound up happening is then they're resistant. So then when we play them, they don't sound good. So then they go, see, that doesn't sound good. And Stephen and I would say, but it's because we didn't rehearse them, And then they just go, because we tried to get uh, We try to get No One's Leaving in there. We try to get Obvious.
Yeah,
But
obvious.
Perry, like, what's that?
Yeah, obvious. I think I remember obvious seems like y'all rehearsed, but I think somebody that had seen him backstage that y'all had rehearsed it. Maybe I think maybe even played it. I don't know if y'all played it once or not. But
Yeah, we tried, but Perry had trouble remembering the parts on that one. So
right.
that one went by the wayside. Instead of being rehearsed, it got shelved. Um, couldn't play Classic Girl because it would hurt Eddie's feelings.
I guess yeah.
What else?
I guess that's understandable. It's just a
Well,
song,
but
I guess.
how do you start there? I mean, oh, right, I wanted to do Wood for You, another
Yeah,
one that wouldn't get done.
yeah.
Because I actually, ironically, somebody showed me a YouTube video of somebody performing that at the New Orleans Museum, a cover of Wood for You,
Uh-huh.
and they did it with just a vocal and vibes. And ironically, that's actually how I wanted to do that song. I thought, I'll play bass and have Steve play a simple vibe part so that there's just a low vibes playing those simple chords too, you
Yeah.
know. And actually somebody did that. I
On
mean,
this,
I never made that public, but it just so happened, and I thought it sounded really cool that way
yeah.
when I heard it on the net.
You're
But
you're talking
anyway,
about on this tour. You wanted to play it that
yeah,
way. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Some
I was trying to mix it up. I was just trying to make something, you
yeah.
know, happen.
So I guess the venues were pretty much set. I guess that's just the way playing amphitheaters instead of say a smaller, I guess just theater. Was just more
Yeah.
accommodating for the two big bands. Or,
Well, it's a few things. I mean, it's that there was a lot of criticism that we had played the small shows and people couldn't get in and all that.
okay.
So there was that concern. Um, because we were throwing around ideas at some point, but I think it was just a money thing. Like I think that, because I was saying, why don't we do these things downtown or in loft spaces or just really go outside of, well, actually not, no, sorry, that was for the Lasita shows. Um,
Okay.
um, but like the idea of doing like smaller theaters or whatever, we also didn't want it to just be like part of the strategic thing for Jane's was maybe we could win over some of the younger Nine Inch Nails fans
Yeah.
playing in front, so we could grow the brand of Jane's Addiction. Like we're not just playing to people who are coming out to like tap their foot to the hits or whatever. So so part of the strategy toward making Jane's Addiction a viable new thing and not just a retirement act, part of that idea was playing in front of people who weren't fans and winning them over,
Right.
trying to grow the brand as well. So
So were
because
there?
they had done theater shows before, and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
anyway.
Were there any problems along the way, or did you guys just keep separated?
No, there were no problems actually, because it was really fun. I
Yeah.
mean, it was like Stephen, Dave, and I on one bus, and Perry and family and stuff on the other. So, I mean, we had a great fucking time. I mean, on that level, it was just like, there was
The three of you.
internet on the bus and like movies and Dave was parading hot young things through all the time, and it was fun. It was
Right.
just fun.